Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to table the following notice paper running 8th and 9th July 2025, and today being a Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Honorable Speaker, we'll be having the following business. We'll be having a petition, that is the report of the Committee on Education, Vocational Training, Culture, Gender, and Social Protection on the petition on status of allocation of land to IDPs domiciled in Nyandarua, being sponsored by Peter Gadongu, Kamau, Chairperson, Committee on Education and Vocational Training. Honorable Speaker, we'll be having the following papers. That is the report of the Committee on Special Funds Accounts on Nyandarua County, Executive, State and Public Officers Karun and Mortgage Scheme, third quarterly report and financial statement for period ended 31st March 2025, sponsor being Peter Teji Kiriga, Chairperson, Committee on Special Funds Accounts. Honorable Speaker, we'll also be getting another report of the Committee on Special Funds Accounts on Nyandarua County Emergency Fund, quarterly report and financial statements for the period ended 31st March 2025, sponsor being Peter Teji Kiriga, Chairperson, Committee on Special Funds Accounts. We'll also be getting another report of the trade, industrialization and comparative development, and partnership on departmental budget implementation report for the financial year 2023-2024, sponsor being Samuel Limuikayani, Chairperson, Committee on Trade and Industrialization. Honorable Speaker, on motions and bills, Honorable Speaker, we'll be getting a motion on report of the Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution on the annual report of the County Public Service for the year 2024, sponsor being Edna Nwabo Kingori, Chairperson, Committee on Public Service. We'll also be getting another motion, Honorable Speaker. That is the motion on empowerment and enhancement of emergency response service program, sponsor being the minority leader, James Mwangi Geshoke, MCA, Engineer Ward, today at 2:30, that is the afternoon hours. Honorable Speaker, we'll be getting the following businesses. We'll be getting a report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and Revenue on County Government of Nyandarua, County Revenue Fund quarterly report and financial statements for the period ended 31st March 2025, sponsor being Zachary Mwangi Jeru, Chairperson, Committee on Finance. We'll also be getting another report from the same chair, the report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and Revenue on County Government of Nyandarua, Receiver of Revenue quarterly report and financial statements for the period ended 31st March 2025. Honorable Speaker, we'll be getting another report of the water, sanitation and environment, tourism, natural resources, and climate change on Nyandarua County. Lake Oroborosa Sports, Tourism and Conservation Hub Marathon Fund annual report and financial statements for the financial year ended 30th June 2024, sponsor being Honorable Isaac Kamabai, Chairperson, Committee Water, Sanitation and Environment. Honorable Speaker, we shall also be getting the report of the Water, Sanitation and Environment, Tourism, Natural Resources and Climate Change on Nyandarua County, Ikoroborosa, Sports, yes, the Sports, Sports, Tourism and Conservation Hub Marathon Fund for the year report and financial statement for the period ended 31st December 2024, right, by the same chair, Honorable Isaac Kamabai, Chairperson, Committee on Water and Sanitation. On motions and bills, Honorable Speaker, we'll be getting another motion on the report of the Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution for the budget implementation for the financial year 2023-2024, sponsor being Edna Nwabo Kingori, Chairperson, Committee public service and administration. Tomorrow, Honorable Speaker, at 9:30 a.m. we'll be having the following business. Honorable Speaker, we'll be getting on statements, we'll be getting a response to a statement on status of Wanyambo ECD Center. Responding being Peter Kamau Gadongo, Chairperson Committee, Education and Vocational Training. On motions and bills, Honorable Speaker, will be getting a motion on the report of the Finance, Economic Planning and Revenue and ICT on Nyandarua County Revenue Fund annual revenue statement for the financial year ended 30th June 2024. Sponsor being Zachary Mwangijeru, Chairperson Committee on Finance and Economic Planning. Honorable Speaker, at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, being Wednesday, we shall be having on the following motion. Two motions. One, the motion on the report of the Committee on Finance, Economic Planning and Revenue on Nyandarua County Revenue Fund, having a report and financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024. Sponsor being Zachary Mwangijeru, Chairperson Committee on Finance and Economic Planning. Also, Honorable Speaker, will also be moving a motion on adjournment for
party. The notice paper is duly tabled. Clerk, next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. We have a petition response from Honorable Peter Gadongo Kamau, Chairperson, Committee on Education, Vocational Training, Culture, Gender and Social Protection.
Very well. Honorable Peter Gadongo Kamau, Chairperson, Committee on Education, Vocational Training, Culture, Gender and Social Protection.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, even as I give this statement, the country is breathing. Let's continue praying for our country and superiority to those who are in the throne, who seem to have no human heart. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the 3rd of March 2025, the Office of the Clerk was seized of a petition from the Nyandarua United Integrated Persons, that is the IDPs, regarding a durable solution to over 1,800 internally displaced persons living within Nyandarua County for over 2 decades. Consequently, in this communication during the sitting of 23rd April 2025, the Speaker, Honorable Wachira Waiganjo, presented the petition before the House and referred it to the Committee on Education, Vocational Training, Gender, Culture and Social Protection. And Honorable Speaker, through the committee, though the committee, Honorable Speaker, is yet to complete considering the petition, it has made the following steps. 1, Honorable Speaker, it is inviting the petitioners, which was done on 14th of May 2025. The committee held a meeting with the petitioners in the County Assembly Hall, where they made their submissions and presented other documents to the committee. And Honorable Speaker, on the 4th of June 2025, the committee wrote to the CCM, RANT, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development, concerning a number of RAD parcels that the petitioners presented to the committee. The committee is yet to receive a response from the department, Honorable Speaker. And on the 11th of June, Honorable Speaker, the committee had a discourse with the CCM responsible for social protection concerning the prayers which had been made by the petitioners. Honorable Speaker, from the submissions made, the committee observed that the petitioners had petitioned the Senate. That was on 25th of May 2023, and also the National Assembly of Kenya on the 13th of March, year 2023. The committee has therefore written to the two institutions to establish the progress of the said petition, and it is still waiting the response from those national institutions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I therefore urge the House to grant the committee 45 more days so that it can process the petition to completion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I table the progress report, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kadungo. The preliminary, rather progress report is duly tabled. The leave sort is well explained and deserving, and so I grant it. So, Chair, ensure the report is ready within the time you've requested. Clerk, next order.
Order number 5, papers. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have several papers to be laid. We begin by Honorable Peter Denjikirega, the Chairperson, Committee on Special Funds Accounts.
Yes, Honorable Joyce Munywa, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not a Vice Chair, but I'm a member of the committee.
Thank you. My apologies.
A brief on the report on the Nyandarua County Emergency Fund and the County Executive Loan and Mortgage Fund, quarterly report and financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, in view of the fact that the financial year 2024-2025 has ended and that the annual financial reports are expected to be submitted to this Honorable Assembly within the statutory timeline of 3 months after the end of the financial year, the committee humbly seeks the indulgence of this Honorable House to allow for the consideration of the third quarter financial statement alongside the annual financial statement upon their submission. This proposal aims to streamline the review process and avoid unnecessary repetition, especially since issues raised in the second quarter are already being addressed in the committee's current review of the financial statement for the first half of the year. By combining the review of the third quarter with the annual statement, the committee will be able to carry out a more complete, efficient, and well-coordinated analysis of the financial performance and management of the entire financial year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Jace. Maybe I want you to be more elaborate. When I look at the progress, yeah, I'm seeing you are seeking for the indulgence of the House. Are you seeking for timeline or?
Mr. Speaker, we are requesting that we be allowed to consider the whole of the financial year because we are already at the end of the financial year, and within 3 months we'll be able to get the comprehensive report.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, thank you. The progress report is duly tabled and the leave sort is well explained. So I grant the time as sought, maybe within the 90 days, ensure the same is brought back to the House. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, under the same order on papers, we have a paper to be laid by Honorable Samuel Rumwikayani, Chairperson, Committee on Trade, Industrialization, Cooperatives, Development and Partnership.
Very well, Honorable Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a brief. The committee, Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Tourism, Cooperative Development, Trade and Industrialization has a responsibility pursuant to Nyandarua County Assembly standing orders in line with the general responsibility or power of the County Assembly to oversight the County Executive and its entity of overseeing the respective departments' implementation of the budget as approved by the County Assembly. In line with this, the committee did request for the department budget implementation report, which was presented to the committee on 10th May 2025 during a workshop considering subject matter. Consequently, the department did send a report where the committee resolved to have a physical meeting to deliberate on distinguished inconsistencies. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, the committee has not been able to meet with the department and is arranging for the same after recess. Arising from the foregoing, the committee hereby seeks leave to report back to the House on the department's budget implementation report for the financial year 2023-2024 within the next 30 days. Therefore, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Joyce. The preliminary or rather progress report is duly tabled. The leave sought is explained and deserving, and so I grant it as sought. So ensure the same is here within the timeline requested. Clerk, next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a motion by Honorable Edinand Wambagu Kengori, Chairperson, Committee on Public Service, Administration and Devolution.
Very well. Honorable Edinand, who is holding his brief. Yes, Honorable Gishoki, thank you. You're holding the brief.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I was in contact with Mr. Wambugu, and he seeks that you allow him to do this after recess.
Very well. The progress, or rather the leave is granted. Can have it done immediately after the recess. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, under the same order on motions, we have a motion by Honorable James Mwangi Gishoke, the MC Engineer Ward.
Very well. Honorable James Mwangi Gishoke, MC Engineer Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to move the following motion with amendments. That aware that Article 43(1)(d) of the Constitution of Kenya guarantees every person the right to access emergency medical treatment. Further aware that Article 186(1) and the 4th schedule of the Constitution of Kenya assigns county governments the responsibility of disaster management and emergency response services, noting that the Nyandarua County Disaster Management Unit has the mandate to coordinate emergency response, but faces operational challenges, including understaffing, inadequate resources, and incapacity to handle certain disasters. Further noting that the Nyandarua County Statistical Abstract 2022 by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics demonstrates that there are 238 dams, 400 shower wells, and 171 water pans across the country, among other sources of water. Conscious that these sources of water within our respective communities pose extensive risks, including accidents, loss of life, and all other security threats. Cognizant that the county emergency response team also faces logistical challenges, such as poor coordination among stakeholders, inadequate capacity building and training for respective personnel, and the absence of centralized emergency call center. Further cognizant that communities in Nyandarua County remain vulnerable to disasters due to limited public awareness on emergency preparedness and response mechanisms. Appreciating that the county government has made preliminary efforts to establish an emergency response unit, which necessitates the need for additional support to fully operationalize it, including the initial partnership with national and international agencies, as well as neighboring counties, to enhance capacity building and resource mobilization for the emergency response service program. Concerned that the Nyandarua County is yet to obtain a fully operationalized empowerment emergency response service program, leading to delayed responses to emergencies such as road accidents, fires, medical emergencies, and natural disasters. Further concerned that the county emergency response unit is understaffed, underfunded, lacks essential equipment, including ambulances, fire engines, and communication tools, hindering effective service delivery. Now, therefore, this House does resolve that the County Executive Committee member, CCM for Health Services, in collaboration with the County Executive Committee member CCM for Roads, Transport, Energy and Public Works, shall fast track the development and implementation of a comprehensive emergency response service policy within 60 days, outlining clear guidelines for the emergency preparedness, response and recovery. That number 2, the Department of Public Works, Roads, Transport, Housing and Energy shall within 90 days. This is where, Mr. Speaker, I wish to make an amendment. What we had presented earlier was within 14 days, but now that time has moved a bit, we would want to make that amendment to include, to iterate the 14 days so that it reads 90 days. Consult with the Department of Finance and Economic Planning and ICT and the County Public Service Board and submit a report on the funds required for the initial setup of the following. Again, here we have another amendment, which was that it be done within the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, but since it has already been passed by events, we will wish to make an amendment such that it reads within the first supplementary budget estimates of the financial year 2025-2026 for appropriation by the County Assembly. A, recruitment of at least 3 professional divers across the county. B, functional ambulances and fire engines. C, modern communication and dispatch systems. D, essential rescue equipment and protective gear for personnel. Number 3, upon the provision of budgetary allocation, the Department of Public Service and Disaster Management, in consultation with the County Public Service Board, shall within 30 days recruit and conduct training for additional emergency response personnel, including paramedics, firefighters, disaster management experts, to ensure a proper staff to ward ratio. The county government shall, number 4, within 90 days, establish a 24/7 emergency call center to coordinate responses and deploy resources efficiently, leveraging technology for real-time monitoring and reporting. The county government does foster, and that is number 5, a partnership with the National Disaster Management Unit, that is NDMU, Kenya Red Cross, and neighboring counties to enhance capacity building and resource sharing and join emergency drills. The County Executive Committee member, CCM number 6, for Roads, Transport and Energy Public Works shall oversee the establishment of a robust emergency response framework and provide quarterly progress reports to the County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I would wish you to note the reason why we are bringing up this matter. In this county, we have had major disasters, and specifically the one that occasioned this was when we had 3 young men who drowned in a dam called Meru Dam in Engineer. Mr. Speaker, you will note that it took the county over 4 or 5 hours to be able to source divers to come and retrieve the bodies. The greater question that begs an answer is, do we want to respond in retrieval of bodies, or do we want to respond in saving lives? The fact that an entire county does not have a diver dedicated to the county, even if we are saying that the diver is in Shamata but is required in Engineer, we would have understood that it is possible. Because of that particular incident, it came to our attention that in real sense we do not have a functional disaster management system. I was involved in trying to put together, and I actually found, Mr. Speaker, that I also did not know who I was supposed to call. And if I ask most of the members present here, if something happens in Wanjohi, who would the member for Kipipiri call? Who is this designated person who quickly coordinates an emergency. And that's why we are feeling that this is something that ought to be given the necessary attention. The fire agents, the kind of fires that are breaking, we were casualty here just the other day. We appreciate the efforts that have been done by the Department of Roads in the rehabilitation of the vehicles that have been rehabilitated for purposes of managing our fires. But Mr. Speaker, the greatest problem is the lead time between when the incident has occurred to the time that incident has been communicated and the time the response team is able to be put together. You say, for example, a fire has broken in Gathara. I'm just giving a case example of engineer where I'm more versant with. The fire engine is at a place called Slopes in Engineer Town. The time it takes for that communication to reach the fire people, for them to say, gee, the lorry is doing what and behaving in a certain manner, and then making that lorry work, to now rushing where the problem is, you find that almost 80% of the time we are reaching just when the fire has actually been put out by people. Without blame games, the purpose of this motion is to request members to support me in making sure we have a comprehensive, independent, 24/7 dedicated emergency response unit. Sometimes most of the movies are fictitious, Mr. Speaker. But when watching them, sometimes we can feel developed countries, how they respond to disaster. A single call, say, for example, 911 in the United States, makes a lot of sense. It has somebody to receive, it has somebody to decide on what nature of help do you need. That is what we are asking this government to establish. Can we have a call center? Can this call center be made in a manner that even a child can be able to know, if I am in problems, I can call this number. When I call this number, I'm going to get an assistance. So when we are saying and asking that both the Department of Roads, which is the one where emergency is domiciled, working closely together with the one for health and ICT, we are trying to tell the key stakeholders that, can you give us an estimate of our budget, which shall be able to help establish this. I'll be also asking the members of the county assembly that within these particular 90 days, because the expectation is that they will take this seriously and that they'll work according to the recommendations we are giving, is that let them give us a framework, tell us, to establish that call center, this is what is required. This is the money we need. The critical staff who are required to be established, like say, for example, even if we had to get just one diver per sub-county to start with, that we know wherever we have domiciled the emergency unit, the people who are handling the fire agents, can we have a complete set of disaster management assistants? Can we have one diver in engineer where we have domiciled the fire agent? Can we have one in Olkalau? Can we have one in Oljololo? Can we have in Oldarago? That when these kind of situations arise, it is going to take a span of just a few minutes, probably even be able to save a life. So that they are available, they can be able to be of assistance. Most importantly, because the most common disaster we are experiencing is fire, I would also be urging that the efficiency of our vehicles be given some bit of an attention, because it is even more embarrassing that the fire engine was there, but it never reached. So the house got burned fully, and our engine was just a few meters away, but for some reason it did not reach. The use of other important, easier way of handling things. Like, for example, Mr. Speaker, you'd find that Even the fire engines that we are having, like say for example the one that is domiciled in Engineer, immediately the fire engine imemaliza maji, I don't know how to do that in English, you find that it will have to travel all the way to a filling point that is another 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers away. So are we able to have hydrants? Because if you go to most of the established counties, like now, if you look at our town centers, let's say for example Engineer, Jambini, here on Norcalau, it is this time that because of establishment of the municipalities that the roads, we have an opportunity because it is the time the roads are being made and all that. Can we have a provision that allows so that we can have hydrants in different points within the town? Where can this particular lorry quickly refill? Even if it is not refilling, if this shop is burning here, can we have some water point somewhere within the building, say within a distance of 100 meters apart, where people can quickly put together some pipes and access water, and then they can even try to assist themselves just before even the tractor has, I mean the fire engine has come in. So what they are coming up with this policy, the expectation we are expecting is that they will holistically look at how do we respond to our problems. The other day, again at Slopes, it is actually a black spot. We lost 3 police officers on an accident, and we lost 2 civilians. If you look at Slopes where it is, Engineer Hospital where it is, and the time it takes for the hospital to come and be of good help to this kind of an emergency, when the Good Samaritans have picked the people who have injured and they are last at Engineer Hospital, who is there to wait? Do we have a 24-hour service that if an emergency was to arise, somebody is going to be there, is going to be attended to? Or you take your patient, then the next thing is that the doctor was not available. I don't know, let us wait for so-and-so. I don't know, what do we do? Can we have a specific attention to a person who is employed to respond to emergencies, especially at our hospital, Engineer Hospital and JM Hospital, which are the main leading hospitals where this kind of critical service would be required. So the policy we are asking is, can the 3 departments, specifically roads and health, sit within this particular 60 days? And Mr. Speaker, we are used to passing resolutions here with specific timelines, which the executive takes for granted. And they don't. They actually don't even look at the timelines. I'll be asking the Assembly to assist me in being a bit firm on this, so that within 60 days they can tell us the entire scope. What is this do we want? We will be specific on certain items. They must be able to help us establish a 24-hour emergency call center. And in this call center, they must be able to tell us how do we make sure that the public, any member within Nyandarua, whether a child or whoever is in problem, knows that I ordinarily call this number, and when I call this number, I get assisted. That policy must address itself to the delays of the emergency response. Yes, the accident is already reported, the ambulance is required. The bureaucracy of releasing that ambulance is another big problem. I don't know, the hospital superintendent is not within reach, so she has or he has not given authority. The driver of the ambulance is not there. Most of the time the ambulance is not fueled. So we would want that those ambulances that are set aside for emergency, other than the normal hospital movements of patients from the hospital, this hospital to the other hospital, those dedicated ambulances for emergency, as they plan that particular office, they must ensure that there is availability of fuel planned properly, so that we do not have an emergency. And it's at that time that we are starting to say, the vehicle, I don't know, is not fueled. I don't know who is actually even supposed to fuel it. And then there is a push and pull between the Department of Health, the Department of loads where the emergency is domiciled and all that. The equipments, which we have said now, these ambulances and these fire engines, the divers, even those basics, like now when we were there, you realize that we had to depend with Red Cross, and we had to wait for people from Red Cross to move all the way from Nakuru so that they could come and assist us. So the training of the staff and the equipment that they need to accompany, to make their work easier, all of them they be supplied with. And of course the people don't even know. Like I had said that, you have a fire, like now, a fire engine is in our place. I actually got the number of who to call just the other day. The public, when there's a fire, they are calling the area MCA. Kuna moto hapa. The public don't know who they should actually call, which is a very bad thing. Can we have a way in which, as they are doing the policy, as they are establishing, they must come up with a way of ensuring that the public knows which person to call, which number to call. If possible, that this number be made toll-free. Because this is a number you want for somebody to call in an emergency. What will happen if that person does not have credit? Does it mean that then that particular problem is not going to be addressed? Most of the time, the person who is calling is not necessarily the victim. It's not the one who is suffering. It's maybe a person who have just passed and found an accident. If he doesn't have credit, what does he do? So this number we are saying needs to be done, should also be considered to be done as a toll-free number, where people can just call and then the government can foot the bills, because that is why it's the government. The questions of flooding. There's a very notorious place called Mwenjoyo, just before you reach the newly built Hotel Olympus. We are now used to, it rains, it creates havoc. We come with beans, we come with clothing, we give people, we go. Nobody sits to ask, what should we do? Like now, the necessary, that is actually Kenya, because that big problem of that flooding is because of the nature of drainage that was done for the main road. But after taking the food and sympathizing, I don't know how many cows have been carried by the water and all that, what do we do after that? This policy must address itself to the specific areas which we consider have issues. Like now, that slopes we are talking about. I think this must be the 15th accident. So what is this that is required to declare a place a black spot, so that a special attention can be given to enable other drivers to know that this place is a bit dangerous. The accidents come, like now they were even involving the traffic. We lost 3 traffic officers there. Actually, the last one was being buried on Thursday. And it will be okay. We will wait for the next accident. And then we are going to put some bit of fires and then some condolences and wait for that other accident. So what is this? We are asking that the emergency response units must be able to look at our roads and establish which are these specific areas that we must cordon and try to put pressure so that they are done. I will be asking members to support me in ensuring that we at least follow this matter. Within these timelines we have given the first 60 days where we are expecting the CCM for roads and for health to come up with a policy. It will be urged that this policy they may consider discussing it with the relevant committees for extra input. And then after that, by the time they are doing the policy, it is that we expect they look at the expenditure requirement for such kind of an establishment, which is what we'll be asking the Assembly to support them in terms of ensuring that that allocation finds its way in the first supplementary budget. And then after that, we are expecting the Public Service Board, having been given the resources necessary to recruit the support staff that are necessary to learn this particular system. We expect that them within 30 days, that they'll also be able to do that, bring enough staff, and within 90 days, that we have a functional call center. We have a functional system of emergency where our people can most likely call and save a life. I'll be asking the member for Kipipiri, Honorable Kongo, to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Kongo, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm not a member for Kipipiri, I'm a member for Anjohi Ward. And first of all, I want to thank the move of the motion.
Maybe he's speaking in future when he talks of Kipipiri.
Hopefully, he's futuristic. And thank you for seeing the future. I want to thank the mover of the motion for this very well researched motion that he has been able to present today. I was maybe quite busy with the budget. I didn't see this motion. I've just seen it this morning. But I agree with him totally, 100%, because I think all of us have seen a gap on what has been happening in this county in issues of disaster response. And Honorable Speaker, from the very onset, I support that we need to have a disaster management policy in this county. And I beg the main thing that we need to look at, if we really need to see, and the member really need to see that there is a serious gap in this county, we need to ask ourselves, because in disaster management, we really need to look at three things, three issues. Preparedness. And if you ask ourselves, just a simple question, how is Nyandarua County government prepared to deal with any disaster? If you ask any member in this house, will tell you there is no preparedness. In any case, any disaster happens, we start running helter-skelter here, asking who should do this, who should do this, who should do this. There is no any kind of preparedness for any disaster. Actually, the utmost preparedness we have is having some fire engines placed somewhere, and maybe they don't have water or they don't have fuel, and some ambulances. Sometimes they are not even they are faulty. They don't have fuel. Sometimes the drivers are not available. So in disaster management, we need to ask ourselves preparedness. And that is why we need this policy. Because there is no policy that talks about how prepared are we. That is why we need the policy. The other issue is effective response. If we are not prepared, how do we respond? So there is no effective response. And when there is no effective response, there is a most likely thing to happen is loss of life and damage of properties. Honorable Speaker, recovery. I was listening to Honorable the mover talking about the bins. The greatest form of recovery we have here in this county is to go and demonstrate, burn tires, and give bins to the victims and rice. But is that the kind of recovery we want as a county? So when we are looking at this policy, we really need to look at the preparedness, effective response, and recovery. And Honorable Speaker, I think we have not been able to allocate, and I speak here as a chairman budget, to allocate money to this area of disaster management because we don't have a policy. You know, it is said that money follows function. We don't know even where this function is. There is no kind of coordination. And I support what the Honorable Gesuke is saying. If we bring this policy, it would be very easy for us to fund because we will know there is this department or whatever kind of a program we are going to have, it is in this department, and these are the needs. If it is recruitment of personnel, these are the kind of personnel we want. This is the amount of money we need for the compensation of the employees. If it is the equipment, this is the kind of equipment for the divers, for the fire engines and all that we need. We will fund that. If it is when it comes to the issue of coordination, for example, what he is talking about, the phone, the phone number and all that, we will be able to fund that. Public awareness. Because also, it's also good to do public awareness to our people. And Honorable Mover is asking, today if a disaster happens in Wanjohi, those people at Wanjohi, who do they call? What happens is they call the MCA. And I want you to see the waste of time. You call the MCA, now the MCA starts looking for the chief officer, Now the chief officer try to look for the people to respond. Can you see? If within that circle, maybe the MCA is in a meeting, does not respond immediately, what happens? If the chief officer, maybe roads, for example, in case of a fire, is not picking your call, what happens? But if you are calling directly to the call center, without even notifying all the other, it will be an immediate response, Honorable Speaker. And I think there is a very big gap. I remember there was a time my people were looking at me. For me, I was in a meeting. By the time I was coming from a meeting, I was told we wanted a fire engine. The store of a cooperative society has completely burnt out. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, we have converted money for emergency to compensating people for fire. And I don't think we need, within this disaster management policy, we really needed to emphasize on the issue of recovery. How do we pay, or how do we compensate, or how do we support the victims? Because what has happened is that immediately there is some fire somewhere, the ward administrator is sent, go and write some letters, yes, I don't know what, and then you come here, we bring it as a money for emergency. We say that it is emergency fund that is going to compensate. Sometimes you give 10%, some people, and I think the majority are the people who don't receive. But if we have a policy, we will be able to coordinate these things within a set framework, and we will be able to fund the program, and I think we will be effective. Honorable Speaker, I need support, and I think we are even behind time in developed countries, and even in our country today, in this century today. We know disasters happens. Fires happen, floods happen, and so many things, disasters are about to happen. You can imagine even what happened in June of 15, if there are some kind of, we needed to respond to some issues, who responds? So I need support, and I second Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kungu. I now propose the question as raised by the Honorable Mwangi Gishoki in the motion on empowerment and enhancement of the emergency response service program in Nyandarua County Government. Yes, Honorable DS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the member who came up with this motion. It's a very important motion for that matter. Mr. Speaker, the disaster we talk about is disaster is a sudden catastrophic event that happens to a community. And usually the community it is beyond the ability of the community to cope with. And the disasters cause significant disruption, harm, loss and damage to property, life, and infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, disasters mostly are natural, or they are naturally caused, and sometimes humanly caused, but they all are disasters. For example, the flooding of the dams is natural because we do not know when the floods will come. The arsonists and the damage of property, like what happened during the protest, that is man-made. But in all this, Mr. Speaker, in governance, and in proper governance for that matter, these disaster management department all must be there. And Mr. Speaker, someone is left to wonder, because I don't know where the swimming pool, the county swimming pool falls under, whether tourism or somewhere. But Mr. Speaker, one condition of operating a swimming pool is having lifeguards. And one wonders, because these were the first people who could be called, because they have to be diverse. I came to learn this, Mr. Speaker, when I tried to be one, as I was looking for a job in Dubai, in my desperate efforts to secure one. And as it unfolded to me, I almost became a victim to be saved. And therefore, it is an expertise job. It is a job that one has to be qualified. So one wonders, we have an operating swimming pool, Mr. Speaker, in the county. Do we have divers? Do we have lifeguards? Are we operating at risk? Are we really even authorized to operate that swimming pool? And if yes, how do we recruit these lifeguards? And these lifeguards could be the same people who can be used to help in disaster recovery, Mr. Speaker. So the good thing with this motion is that it has resolutions. And Mr. Speaker, I want to believe that they do get these resolutions, because supposing one drowned in our own swimming pool, which we have made for entertainment, and we know that not all those who go to entertain themselves in a swimming pool that are qualified swimmers, and therefore that is why it is a mandatory to have a lifeguard there, not one. And I believe the recommendation to have 3 qualified guards, lifeguards or divers, should be very urgent. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as a county, it is the high time we realize that we are operating on what we call management by crisis. Because we are looking for lifesavers when we have already lost lives, and again, in a neighboring county, how do they have one? Then why don't we have such? I believe, Mr. Speaker, to strengthen this motion, I believe the number of days given should be followed, and then if it is not done, then somebody must answer to this county, this assembly, why we are left on our own in the face of disaster. Mr. Speaker, I support, and I greatly ask that the Committee on Implementation will surely take on this matter and make sure that the resolutions are followed to the letter. Mr. Speaker, disaster management and preparedness is not only necessary in Nyandarua County, it is urgent, and it is that it is a bit careless that we don't have one. I support. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Matimo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me this opportunity to support this very important motion this morning. Mr. Speaker, I would want to thank Honorable Geshoke James for coming up with this motion that is what I would refer to as a matter of county importance, Mr. Speaker. A nation or a county that cannot be able to protect its people is a county that should not be in existence. And from some of the samples that he has tabled in this assembly this morning, Mr. Speaker, it is something that should raise our aerials as a county and see that we are behind schedule. And Mr. Speaker, this is something that we ought to have done a long time ago to ensure that, Mr. Speaker, we save property, we save lives. And I think, like he has just mentioned, one of the things that we need to do as a county is to ensure that we have a policy in place. I remember of an incident, Mr. Speaker, one of a resident from Lorie happened to have called or I think they wrote in our WhatsApp group that there's fire in a certain place. And the area member of county assembly called, and just like Honorable Geshoke has mentioned, no one knew who
should be called. And by the time the fire engine was arriving, the house was already burned down, and now people resorted to stoning the county fire engine. Reason? The response time, or the time that this truck took, was longer than expected, Mr. Speaker. By the time it was arriving, it had no water. So the first thing that when they came was asking, where do you have a dam around this place? We fetch water to come and put off the fire. These are some of the things that should be covered in this policy. So, Mr. Speaker, we may be knowing that so and so is answerable in case the response team fails. But right now, Mr. Speaker, as a county, there's no one who is answerable in terms of emergencies in our county. And it's a very long process, because sometimes even the number that they've given, you call it at times and it's off air. And it's an emergency number that we're supposed to call to ensure that a disaster is covered, Mr. Speaker, or someone has responded to a disaster. And I want to support what the sentiments from every honorable member here who has spoken, Mr. Speaker. That is something that we need to look into it to the letter. That within the 60 days, Mr. Speaker, if we shall not be having a policy in place, someone should face the music. Because, Mr. Speaker, we cannot be waiting for a disaster to happen, and that's the only time that we want to be seen to be acting. We have to act and ensure that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are able to save lives. It was so unfortunate that it took several days, like Honorable Geshoki has just mentioned. People have drowned, their families are mourning, but no one is coming to their rescue. Whereas we as a county, we can manage and we can be able to ensure that we have people in place to ensure that these disasters are resolved within a very short time. I'm amazed, maybe the DS doesn't know that we've had, even in our own swimming pool here at the Arboretum, it's now closed down because we've lost 2 lives in that swimming pool. Because one, we don't even have a lifeguard. Some students from KMTC came, they came 2 of them. One went in to change. By the time he was coming back, he found the other guy was actually floating in water, and he could not even have saved them. So these are some of the things that are calling us as a county. And I really want to thank Honorable Geshoki, because this is something that we could have done a long time ago. But we are very grateful that this is now an eye-opener to us, that we need to act fast and ensure that this policy is there in place. Once we have this policy, Mr. Speaker, it will come to, in a long way to ensure that we are able to respond to even some of the issues that pertains to even ourselves. Even as an assembly, Mr. Speaker, if a disaster happens today, and maybe there's fire, where is our emergency exit? We don't know. These are some of the things that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we need to come up with, even have, what do you call it? Drills as a county. We need even to have drills in that very department. And I remember when we had our first fire engine, it really helped me one time that they called members of the public, Mr. Speaker. And one of the drills that they were showing is how to put off a gas that is burning. And from that, I can really say that it saved me once. Because I was doing some tea one time when I was in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, and the burner started burning from that position that you screw in. And what I did, Mr. Speaker, I took off a torn t-shirt, and it really assisted me to put off the fire. These are some of the things that we need to be included in the policy, so that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we can even educate our people on some of the things that they can actually even save themselves. I really want to say that I support this, and let's ensure that the Committee on Implementation, Mr. Speaker, does do a follow-up to ensure that within the 60 days, within the 90 days, we have this policy in place, and with that, I support.
Thank you. Honorable Denji.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this innovative idea about the disaster management. Mr. Speaker, I happen to be the chairman to the emergency fund, and Mr. Speaker, what I would urge even the committee of through the government, that is the government which has powers, that even as we deal with emergencies, most of the time, Mr. Speaker, we find that there are no enough allocations in the emergency. Having the fact that the emergency fund is supposed to cater in so many fields. Mr. Speaker, this one we term it for unforeseen. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we ignore some of the policies if we have. Mr. Speaker, like in every ward we have several boreholes. And Mr. Speaker, there is no idea of coming up that we can even do installation of pipe in all those boreholes that can be able to refill the lorries. Mr. Speaker, if at all we would like to arrest the cases of fire extinguishers from going a distance, Mr. Speaker, I would urge or come up with my own opinion that in every borehole, it is mandatory to have a better pipe which can be installed to manage and even to be refilling the lorry. That is as simple as that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the cases relating to people drowning in water, in my ward I have several cases that have been there. All that every time that, Mr. Speaker, we have a drowning person, Mr. Speaker, we don't even salvage. We wait for several days or 2 days, and the easiest we normally do, we go for the hire from outside other counties, mostly from Nakuru. Mr. Speaker, it is also very expensive because once the diver comes, he comes with a lot of conditions. I would urge the government even to rethink or plan whether it is easier to train our own divers so that at least even if we cannot meet in every sub-county because people do not drone each and every day, Mr. Speaker, we have at least 2 divers in Nyandarua. Those can be of most important in saving the lives of people. Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the Committee of Implementation, but the policy should be done so that in the future, Mr. Speaker, we can have people to save the lives of people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Maybe probably we would have called the mover to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought there would be another member to contribute, but I just called the mover. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to thank the members by the contribution and support. Of course, DS with the substantive definition of what is a disaster. I'm sure the answer will come in handy to the people who are going to do the policy in understanding just exactly what they are dealing with. course, I'm grateful to Thenji. The extra input I would put is that there are these boreholes which are ordinarily, most of them are along the tarmacs. I would urge that as they consider doing the policy, it be mandatory that each borehole that is along the tarmac and it is close or has close proximity to a town center, that there be a requirement that it is mandatory to have an independent storage tank purposely dedicated to an emergency. In this case, the refilling of the fire engines. I would be urging Matimo to of course make sure that there's good relations so that the number of times he needs to make tea can be reduced. When the wife makes the tea, she may not encounter many problems. Mr. Speaker, with that, I wish to request the members for support as we ensure that we have a working emergency response unit within our county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Mwangi Gishoki, and Honorable Matimo has taken your advice seriously to avoid future calamity. I now put the question, which is that this House does resolve, number one, that the County Executive Committee member, CCM, for Health Services, in collaboration with the CCM for Roads, Transport, Energy and Public Works, shall fast-track the development and implementation of a comprehensive emergency response services policy within 60 days, outlining clear guidelines for emergency preparedness, response, and recovery. Number two, the Department of Public Works, Roads, Transport, Housing, and Energy shall within 90 days consult with Department of Finance, Economic Planning, and County Public Service Board and submit a report on the funds required for an initial setup of the following within the first supplementary budget estimates for financial year 25-26 for appropriation by County Assembly. A, recruitment of at least 3 professional drivers across the county. B, functional ambulances and fire engines. C, modern communication and dispatch system. D, essential rescue equipment and protective gear for personnel. Number 3, upon the provision of budgetary allocation, the Department for Public Service and Disaster Management, in consultation with the Public Service Board, shall within 30 days recruit and conduct training for additional emergency response personnel, including paramedics, firefighter, and disaster management experts, to ensure a proper staff-to-ward ratio. Number 4, the county government shall within 90 days establish 24/7 emergency call center to coordinate responses and deploy resources efficiently, leveraging technology for real-time monitoring and reporting. Number 5, the county government does foster partnership with the National Disaster Management Unit, Kenya Red Cross, and neighboring counties to enhance capacity building, resource sharing, and joint emergency drills. Number 6, the County Executive Committee member for Roads, Transport, Energy, and Public Works shall oversee the establishment of robust emergency response framework and provide quarterly progress reports to the County Assembly. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we've exhausted the business as indicated in the morning session's order paper.
There being no other business to transact under this sitting, I now adjourn the House to Tuesday, the 8th day of July, 2025 at 2:30 p.m.